All right, guys, I thought I'd do kind of a midday, end of the day video before the market closes because today is a pivotal day in the stock market. So I want to go through these charts, show everyone what I'm seeing, kind of what's taken place. Today, there's been a lot of damage done technically to the bull case. Doesn't mean it's completely invalid. But what I want to highlight is when you're a bear and you're bearish on the markets, you find yourself kind of being alone in that position, and oftentimes you'll be wrong 8 out of the 10 days, or 80% of the time the markets move against you, and most people generally flock to the bullish side. Even in a bear market, when you see signs that you're in a bear market, people still remain bullish because they have recency bias and they remember the bull market that they just came out of. They think it's going to continue, and so they don't recognize that they're in a bear market until oftentimes a lot of the bear market has already played out. And so when you're trying to position for a bear market, you find that most people are telling you you're wrong, and most of the 80% of the time the market moves against you, making you think you're wrong, and then you get the 20% that confirms that position. And that's what we have today. We have one of those 20% days that is showing me a lot of signs that the bear market is going to continue. So let's go ahead and look at the charts. Give me a thumbs up though before I continue. I appreciate the subscribership and the interaction. It helps my channel. I'll continue to put out the content, and hopefully you're finding value here, and continue to give me those thumbs up and leave comments below if you have anything you'd like to mention. All right, Nasdaq Futures. So here is the trend line we've been in. We just broke support. So now the momentum is no longer to the upside, at least for the short term. All right, this could just be a temporary pullback, but for now, momentum's to the downside, so breaking down. Now the SPY futures look a lot more damaging. Here's the ES, and you had this bearish rising wedge. We broke to the upside and then impulsively sold off. So that's a bull trap in the SPY futures. And here's the SPY. This manifests extremely well in the SPY. So what I kept saying was I didn't see price action in this bearish rising wedge right here. That was kind of trappish. I put a video out a couple of videos back, a week or two, saying that we're setting up for a bull trap. And I said, look, this is going to be a bull trap, and there's going to be, a bull trap rally, which is what bear market rallies are. They end up being bull traps. They make you feel extremely euphoric and bullish, and then they trap it and run to the downside. And that's what we've seen. So here's why I'm seeing extremely bearish price action today. We have a bearish rising wedge right here. You see the red line. So you can see on the downside, just to kind of validate my trend lines, I've got the low here. I've got a reaction, lots of reactions right in here. And then on the upside, I've got reaction here, 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 and a reaction right there. And then we gap to the upside. So this is the bull trap that was set. And you can see this is a bearish pattern. So these should resolve to the downside. But when you move to the upside, you fake people out. Bears think they're wrong if they're still short. Bulls think they're right. They get euphoric. And in general, it is a bullish move because you broke to the upside. But if it's followed by something like this, that's the bear trap. And see the gap? So we gap down and crap. This is called a gap and crap. So you gap down and impulsively sell off. We're pretty much at support now, but you gap down, impulsively sell off, and you create that trap. So this is an island top reversal, and we're continuing to sell off. What's changed from the other video is here's the cues. We had trend line support right here, and same kind of thing. We had a gap down and an impulsive sell off. We've now broken that trend line support. So the trend is no longer up, at least in the short term. All right, this was your uptrend. It was broken. Unless they can do some miraculous recovery in the next hour, and that's a pretty massive recovery, then I would say that's, there's been a change in trend, basically. If I go to the daily, you'll see here that what have we done also? We have recaptured the old highs. Here's your previous highs. And oftentimes I say, if everybody's watching a level, and the level to watch was the all-time highs in the past, everybody's watching that level, you're either going to undercut it or you're going to overshoot it before you see a major reversal. And in this scenario, we overshot it. It seemed, at the time it was very bullish, but we've now had a nice impulsive rejection and come back below the all-time highs. That's your new resistance line right there at the all-time highs, setting that at 237. Where is it at? 237.50 about. So that's your resistance. I would suspect they'll probably sometime, in the next hour, maybe they'll come up and tag it. I don't know. Or maybe that happens tomorrow. I think there's going to at least at some point be a retest of that, and then ultimately another failure. But again, we're continuing to sell off. Volume's not crazy yet. I mean, I'm not seeing crazy impulsive volume. So if volume picks up into the next hour, then that would give you a nice volume spike to confirm this price action. But the damage has been done technically now, so we no longer have this uptrend. And this I probably can mark it out. Yeah, I can't quite draw it out to the bottom, so we're just going to leave it there. But you can see that we've broken this uptrend today. So expect, maybe a little kickback rally and price to start moving down. Doesn't mean we're going to retest the all-time lows or the lows down here. I think we will, but again, that's kind of a longer term prediction. But I think we're going to move down and probably going to at least fill this gap down here at 223, but possibly head a lot lower. All right. So we're watching for that. And before, in the previous video, we had broken the SPY chart, but the Qs had not broken, but now the Qs has. So moving on to the small caps, we also have damage being done here, coming down to support down here. So we'll see. I think the small caps have a little bit more to go, but large caps is really where it's at. If the large caps hold this breakdown candle, especially tech, if tech breaks down, the market breaks down. And I would expect the small caps to follow. So don't use small caps as your indicator. Use tech really as kind of your. I use tech as my guide to tell me if the market's going to break down, and I think that's what we've got today. Okay, here's XLV. This happened pretty quickly, so I got short at the open today, and nice solid trade to the downside. Down about 4%. We're coming down to support down here at this 96, or it's about 97, 25 cents away. In fact, I might roll out and take a little bit of profit. 1 second. Okay, so in general, very, very bearish action. Just given the nature of how we kind of ramped up and then we broke down. And just to wrap up the video, going back, you can see we have bearish rising wedge. We broke that bearish rising wedge after having a bull trap set. So that's extremely bearish. Now we look for continuation of this price action. And then finally, I'll cover these gold charts just in case anybody's wondering. All right, look, the gold miners are selling off a little bit today, but I think this is just kind of the initial gut reaction on these stocks. Mining companies, gold mining companies are stocks. So they might just be initially just being, the algos are just selling them. But look at gold. Here's gold bullion holding support, nice and clean support. We came down, tag support right here, and we're continuing to move higher. So this is just a tag of support. There was no technical breakdown in gold, and it still looks good. So when you look at the gold miners, you've had a little bit of a breakdown here, but I suspect they're going to ramp up and hold this support line here. And if they don't, then maybe maybe I'm missing some sort of a trend line. Maybe we run down to this 23. But ultimately, if gold holds up, the miners aren't going too far. So if the miners sell off a little bit more and gold holds up, that could just be a buying opportunity. I'm not too worried about the gold miners selling off today, even though the rest of the market's selling off. Gold is holding up, and I suspect that these miners are just having an initial reaction, and then they're going to move higher. I don't think we're going to get what we got back here when we had that first down leg down in the stock market, and that's because that was a liquidation event. That was essentially forced selling and people were being forced out of their mining positions. Even though gold was in a bull market, the miners sold off hard because they were being liquidated. That has already cleared out of the system for the most part. You're not going to see a lot of those big positions that are on the wrong side of the trade now with institutions. So the institutions have kind of flipped long gold, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of that liquidation. So I think you're just getting a little pullback, and then you're probably going to start to move higher. Gold should do well if this is a bear market, and the miners should do well as well. So we'll continue to watch that. And then also let's look at the dollar. I mean, the dollar is getting a little bit of strength because, again, this is just a little bit of flight to safety. You know, people are rushing to the dollar, but they're also moving to gold. People are not selling gold. It's holding support. And so gold looks good. And that's what I see in general. So I'm not too worried about it. But again, I'll watch the charts to see if there's any technical damage that gets done to some of these miners. But as of right now, I just don't see anything that's technically wrong with them. That's it, guys. Leave me a thumbs up. Appreciate it. Catch you on the next one. Bye.